I show 3 minutes. I'll put this down here for now.
Oh, I got my squeaky chair again. WD-40.
That'll be a squeaky chair fix.
Yeah,
Oh.
that
Oh, I'm
was,
like, what am I
Taken care
looking
of.
at?
I'll handle.
Really?
Sorry, we take care of it.
No, I forgot all about it till I sat down again.
Well, that's all you're gonna hear now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll fix it after the
And
meeting.
that's all.
We have 1 minute. I show 9:30.
Good morning. Let's call to order the regular meeting of the Western Municipal Water District Board, please. Tammy, would you conduct a roll call?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Director Torres. Here. Director Denstedt. Director Roten.
Here.
Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, President Gardner.
I am here.
Thank you.
And I'll just note that Director Denstedt is online, watching and listening. She is ill and unable to join us physically, so she won't be participating in the meeting. But she is watching it, so she knows what we do.
Great. Thank you, President Gardner. You do have a quorum today.
Great, thank you very much. That brings us to the Pledge of Allegiance. Today we're going to be led by Leo Becerra. Leo? Tell us a little about you, if you would,
Morning.
please.
Thank you all. If you want to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm honored to be here. Thank you all for a great job that you guys always do.
Leo, can you tell
us
the
a little.
board what
Oh.
group you're in and how long you've been here?
I've been here a little over 7 years, full-time going on my 6th year. Part-time, I was over a year and 3 months. But I'm with the Water Quality Department, also handling the backflow and cross-connection. So, and I love it, taking care of business out there.
Thank you.
Leo.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Leo,
thank
for
you for
everything.
all
Leo
you
is
do
one
for
of
us.
our key faces with the community and does a great job interacting with all of our customers. Both in the
And-
backflow
Yeah.
program and in his water quality program, he ends up explaining a lot of things to the customers, so.
And he's good at it.
He's really good at it.
Thank you all again. Have a good day.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Leo.
Okay, brings us to public comments. Do we have anyone in the room who wished to make a comment?
We do not, and I've received no written comments for this
Okay,
meeting.
and there is no one online who wishes to comment?
There is not.
Okay, thank you. We'll close public comments and move on to the consent calendar. Any board member have anything they would like to pull?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? And again, just verifying no public comment, Tammy?
There is no public comment.
Okay, if you would do a roll call, please.
Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Aye.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much. Mr. Miller, do we have anything to add to the agenda?
Nothing to add today?
Okay, brings us to our action items. The first is to adopt a resolution concurring in the nomination of Santa Rosa Regional Resources Authority Board Member Andy Morris to the Aqua JPA Insurance Company. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I'll handle this one myself. Director Rizvi may have some knowledge of this from
Yes,
Sarah.
we did,
But
that it-
we do need a resolution to support Andy Morris if the board chooses to do that. He's been nominated by Sarah for the Aqua JPIA Board, the Insurance Fund Board. He's been on it before. He's done a really outstanding job, in my opinion. I'm sure Sarah feels the same way. That's why they've nominated him again. So we will need a resolution from the board.
And he makes his living in the insurance industry, so he
He's
actually
very
knows
well
a little bit about
qualified
it,
for this job.
Well,
unlike some of us.
yeah.
So, okay, any discussion?
I would
A
like
motion?
to ask to make the, I will make the motion
Okay.
to.
I'll
approve
second.
this.
So a motion second, any discussion? I would just point out that Director Denstedt told me that she also is supportive of Director Morris as the representative.
He's done a great job himself.
Yeah, he has. He's very good at this. So, Tammy, when the system is ready.
We're ready. Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Aye.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Great, thank you very much. And then we have item B, amend 2 contracts for Northwell 2 treatment facilities.
Thank you, President Gardner. Derek will talk about the details of this. I just wanted to remind the board that we are installing treatment on the North Well. You recall, we just built the North Well. When we operated it, we were still having some water quality challenges with it, so we decided that we needed to add treatment. But staff stepped up and said, well, wait a minute, we can do this ourselves. So this is a project that we're doing the vast majority of the work in-house.
Great.
And there's been a few changes, so Derek will go over those changes.
And just, Derek, before you get into that, for clarification for anybody who might be listening, the water quality issue is not a health-related issue at all. There are some things in the water that cause some discoloration of water and pool plaster and things like that.
That is
But
correct.
it's not health-related in any way.
It's all aesthetics. But still important to us.
Yes, of course.
No one wants to have water that doesn't meet all the aesthetic requirements of the product that
Right.
we deliver.
Derek?
That's right. Okay, so yes, you've highlighted a couple of things. So we
Sorry,
have this ongoing.
sorry, Derek.
No, it's quite all right. You've highlighted the project that we have ongoing, which is the treatment for manganese at the North Well. And what we're doing is we're going to put manganese treatment. We are doing it with a combination of contractors and in-house staff. And this particular item is just related to how we're doing it. We're not changing what we're doing, but we're bringing in the contractor to do a few items that they weren't originally slated for. So we have to pay them for that work. But we're not changing the budget overall right now for that, because it looks like we're all sliding in within the current budget. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail than I usually do at the board meetings, because typically we go through this at committee, but due to timing issues, what we wanted to do is bring this to the board, because we didn't make it in time for the last committee, as we discovered we had to do this. And so I'm presenting it now directly to the board. So this project is including putting in a treatment system, backwater, backwash tank, sodium hypochlorite tank, and some piping, conduit, and some controls. And given the project's complexity, we've engaged with Williamson Development Group Incorporated for construction. Primarily, it's for concrete work on site, for putting those tanks on top of those foundations. And what we originally were planning on doing was having some of our staff do some of the prep work, and then having them do the rebar and pour the concrete. But as it turned out, we had a lot of rainstorms all hit us at once. They had cut some of the, done some of the original grading. The rainstorms hit us, and it messed up the subgrade. So now we have to dig down deeper, replace it with some crushed aggregate base. So that wasn't something that we originally planned on doing, but we're going to have to hire the contractor to do that. And the increase is for Williamson's Development Group to increase their contract by $96,676.60, and that raises the total to $254,586.60. This is account for the necessary excavation, installation of that material to make up for the area that got just saturated from the last rains. We've also are asking to increase the budget for Tetra Tech by $41,200. They're doing the engineering support services for us, for doing the design, for all of the improvements. And that's going to update their total to $374,020. And these amendments come with no request for additional project funds, as the approved budget of $2,394,475 remains sufficient. The project's timeline is going to be extended by about 60 days to accommodate some of these changes, and this will move the project completion date to about June of this year. And the extension is crucial for ensuring that the Northwell Treatment Project meets our rigorous water quality standards, and we hope that we'll have this project up and running in time for the summer season. Thank you for your attention on this, these critical updates, and I invite any questions you might have.
Are there any questions from board members?
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tammy, before roll call, I'd like to verify there is no public comment.
We have no public comment.
Okay, then when you're ready on a roll call vote, please.
Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Thank you,
Great.
directors.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Brings us to reports. Mr. General Counsel.
Good morning. I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. General Manager.
All right. I've got several. There's a lot going on. I'll start off with Metropolitan updates. So it's budget time and rates time. This is a huge, huge issue. We're dedicating a lot of effort into working with Metropolitan and our fellow member agencies on budgets and proposed rates. There are a lot of options that are floating out there. The finance team at Metropolitan is working really hard to develop options, creative options. They hope to have this done in April. I'm not sure how they're going to achieve that, but they're trying. So things move really fast. And these options like spring out at the last minute before committee meetings up at Metropolitan. So our team is working really hard to try and keep, learn what the options are, send the information to Director Denstad so she can get up there and represent us. And then I'm doing a lot of work with the other member agencies and Met staff on the development of options. So what are we talking about? Let me give you a few details. So Met has proposed their first option, which was a rate increase. And this is really important right now. Met is predominantly raising revenue on sales of water. When sales dip, sales are at the lowest they've been maybe ever at 1.1 million acre feet. So their revenue is totally tied to sales, so their revenue is way down. So they've been using reserves this year to fill the gap. Met at one point sold 2.5 million acre feet. So we're at 1.1, less than half of that. So there's an enormous challenge at Met. And I've been pushing that Metropolitan should not have their rates tied to rainfall, because that's really what they are. In a wet year, Met sells less water. LA shifts off of Met's system, doesn't buy water from Met. They buy water from the Owens, or they take their own water out of the Owens Valley. That's a shift of $300 million right there. So that's just LA. So when sales go from 2 million down to 1 million, it's a huge, huge impact on us. So then the Metropolitan staff has to figure out, well, how do we replenish the 300 million in reserves that we burned through this year to make ends meet? And how do we meet all the rising costs of fuel and staffing costs and everything that we're dealing with here at Western also? So the first proposal was a 21% rate increase over 2 years.
Good God.
That's leaving it at just raising the variable rate.
And that's an average of treated water and untreated water. So the untreated water
That-
is actually more than that, wasn't it?
It's, okay, the treated water is actually 26%.
Right.
It's
And
not
that's
really
what
an
we live by.
average. They have special math of how
Okay.
that gets shared. It's not an average, but we call it a melded rate.
Right.
So the melded rate is a 21% increase, but what we'll see and what our member agencies will see is 26%.
Right.
So that's option one. So there's been a lot of talk about doing a shift away from so much variable revenue to some fixed revenue. And they can do that by changing the property. So they already have a property tax rate of, lots of details here, 0.0035, and that, by law, has to go to offsetting their state water project costs.
Sure.
So that doesn't offset all of their state water project costs. So there's headroom that they could raise that property tax rate to cover more of the costs of the state water project, freeing up money to cover other met costs. So there's been numerous proposals of what the property tax rate could increase to. So right now on the table, there's 3 proposals from the Met staff that would increase it from 0.0035 to 0.01. So it's more than doubling, almost tripling the property tax rate. And we've heard Director Denstead talk about this at the meetings here before. So there's a lot of support for that. The impacts to homeowners is very minor. It's on the order of a $50 per year increase in your property taxes. If this goes on to rates, a ratepayer, a water user will pay far more than $50 a month. I mean, $50 a year in the rate increases. So it actually would be a decrease in costs for the typical water user. So it's getting a lot of support, but as we all know at Met, there are certain member agencies that don't like that because they have already built enough capacity in their system. They're not going to buy much more Met water, so they don't care. LA shifts off of the Met system and uses Owens Valley water, so they don't want to pay property taxes. They would rather have a rate increase. So there's all these competing interests that are lobbying and arguing for this. So anyway, that's kind of where we are. We've sent numerous letters to Metropolitan advocating for what we think is fair for everyone. Our perspective of fair is probably different than everyone else's perspective of fair. But what we're trying to do is increase the ad valorem property tax to lower these rate increases because, we're going to hear about rate increases from our customers. And we're trying to get them to lower the treated water rate more so that we're not kind of left behind. For those agencies that have an option to take raw water and treat it themselves, we can't do that. We only have an option to take treated water, so we're stuck. So we've proposed that they limit the rate increase to 5 to 6% for treated water and raise the property tax to the full 0.01% that the Met staff is proposing
Sorry, 5 to 6% a year or over those 2 years?
over those 2 years.
Okay.
Each 5 to 6% each year
Each year?
for the
Oh.
2-year budget.
So 10%, like 10, 12%?
Yes. But Kevin and our team are looking way beyond that.
Sure.
And what we've seen at Metropolitan is that they'll have a big argument and they'll land on a number for the 2-year budget, because this is only a 2-year commitment right now. and then they'll give us a long-term budget. Well, we take the long-term budget and we use that to plan what we're gonna do.
Sure.
So we're very dependent upon the 10-year forecast for our planning purposes. Their practice lately has kind of been, well, we'll just change it every 2 years, which leaves us in a really bad position because we're planning longer. And the board knows that we adopted 4-year rates. So we have to have some certainty in what at least 4 years is. So we're really pushing hard to get Met to implement these property taxes so that we have a much more stable, predictable, long-term rate. So that we can figure out what we're gonna do for our customers and we can figure out what Western's gonna do for the rate adjustments that we need for our own inflationary cost increases. So all that's a lot of story. We're in literally the sausage making right now. I've been working really hard with our team to develop coalition letters because Western doesn't have a strong enough voice on our own. So our last letter, we combined with Burbank, Water and Power, Eastern, Foothill, Glendale, Long Beach, Modoc, Pasadena, Santa Monica, Upper San Gabriel, Three Valleys, and Western, to all agree on the proposal that we're submitting. And, you know, in hopes of really building a coalition that's thinking the same way. So a huge amount of effort is going in. So that's budgets and rates. As I said, you know, Director Denstad's going to be dealing with this. April is supposed to be a decision. We'll see if they get there or not. But Met has the legal authority to increase the property taxes. They don't have to go back to a vote. They can do this with an action of the board. They're well within their headroom. They're the maximum they could go up to. Remember, we're saying 0.01. They can actually go up to 0.018 by law. So we think we're kind of picking a middle figure. So that's our proposal. All right, so that's rates. Anyone have any questions before I go into all the other things?
Just a quick comment on that from the Met perspective. They risk going into a death spiral if they keep raising their water rates. That makes alternative sources for all of their customers more attractive. And their sales will continue to go down. And they really do have to, any business has to have some fixed revenue that is going to cover your costs in years when your product is not selling as well. So if Met is going to survive, they're going to have to shift their revenue generation. They've got to have more fixed revenue. And this is a way to do it that is largely not harmful to those who will be paying it. It's not a complicated thing to do. It's, as Craig said, it doesn't have to go to a vote of those who will be paying the increase. The authority's already there. And it's a relatively modest amount of money per year that most people won't even really notice. It'll kind of be buried in the rest of the things that are in their property tax bill. So I think it would be foolish of Met not to go at least to the 0.1 and conceivably farther. And I'm hopeful they will do that.
Yes. And my next point is there's a big discussion about their conservation programs. And the environmental community loves conservation. And I keep telling Met, because I've brought this up a lot at Met, and some of the more environmental members at Met said, well, Craig, you don't believe in water efficiency. Why? And so I say, Western is a model of water conservation, and we've dropped our per capita water use since 2011 in half. So we've led, and Eastern's done very similar. Western and Eastern, very similar, and we've kind of set the bar on water conservation. So don't say we don't care, but you think about the business case of that, to spend, you know, $30 or $40 million a year at Metropolitan to get people to conserve water when our sales are at the lowest point they've ever been, is very counterproductive to the business of Metropolitan. Spending money to get people not to buy your product when you need to sell more, when you're dependent upon sales for your revenue, is almost like it's a continuation of that spiral that Director Gardner is talking about. So that's going to be a very significant debate that's coming this month at Metropolitan. And then the third challenge is embedded in the rate projections. They're not including some big capital projects yet in those rate projections. So when they say rates are going to go up over the 10-year period 5%, that's not including a Delta fix, that's not including any pure water, that's not including any reservoirs they're going to build. So we want to see those numbers because we have to build those into our projections. So that's another reason we want the property tax addition, is so that we can start building a revenue base to support all these capital projects that Metropolitan has to build. So that's a lot. I'm giving you a lot of inside baseball for what's going on right now, but you may start hearing some of this discussion, and we're literally sitting at the table trying to steer the discussion with other Met member agencies. So that's the budget and the rate side. Camp for Water, I've talked about this before. I was up there all day Monday. We had an 8-hour day of learning about Camp for Water, learning about climate change and how important it is. And I'm not really sure why they thought the GMs all needed to learn about climate change. We all have learned a lot about climate change, but they felt that was important, and they spent the day teaching us about how to plan for variations in conditions, which was nice. Thank you very much. Every day of my life at Western, I worry about planning for varying conditions. So this is nothing new to water managers. We all know drought and flood and drought and flood. We have to be able to handle both situations. So it was a nice exercise, but the camp process is where they're hopefully going to come out with a portfolio of projects that are going to be built over the next 20 to 30 years. So you can't really ignore the budget process or ignore the camp process. They're going to collide at some point, and so it has to be integrated together. So we're working really hard with Met to try and do that. So that's my Met story for the day. I hope that's not depressing. I think it's positive that Metropolitan is listening to the member agencies, and a lot of these alternative rate proposals that Catano, the CFO, is presenting are coming out of the member agencies and the input that we're giving them. So that's encouraging.
A lot of credit for that goes to Craig and his team, and Director Denstead, who is our representative at Met.
Well, and I'll share that because Ryan and his team, and Tim and Kevin and his team, we have a lot of people that are really doing an enormous amount of work to understand this. And Kevin, is Kevin on? Yeah. Kevin, I'll embarrass you. Kevin has done an outstanding job of pulling all the CFOs together from all of our agencies, our family, to make sure that we're talking about their needs, so that Rancho and Elsinore and Corona and Riverside and everyone else all have a voice with us, and then we can share that to Metropolitan also. So Kevin's initiated that whole process, and I don't know if he has all the CFOs, but he certainly has a big group that's listening with him.
Laura, did you have a question?
I do. How does pure water fit into this picture?
Okay. So
The
pure
short
water.
version.
Pure water is right now it's about an $8 billion program. So you can't ignore pure water. The Met board has not approved pure water. What they've approved is a pilot plant, so they've spent money on building the pilot plant and operating it. They've got grants to operate that, so they have to spend some money to match the grants. But the board has not approved that. But in year 3 and 4 of the rate projections, there's money that's starting to be spent on pure water. So it's starting to appear in the rate projections, but the board hasn't taken action to approve the project yet. That's the official line.
Thanks.
But we're nervous
Yeah.
because 8 billion there.
Agree.
They're talking about their east-west pipeline, which is $6 or $7 billion, and they're talking about a Delta fix, which is probably $20 billion or something. So there are a lot of enormous projects. So, you know, sometimes I think I'm wasting my time spending the whole day at Met with Camp for Water, and then I come back and we start talking to staff, and I'm like, literally, we're planning $40 billion worth of capital improvements over the next 20, 30 years at Metropolitan. 40 billion. So it's big water. So anyway, lots going on, more to come. We'll see how the next month plays out up there. All right, more fun news. Riverside Unified School District Junior and Senior Career Day. So HR, wherever they are, they're here somewhere, did a fabulous job participating in this. Our operations staff also jumped in. Tony Pollock, Albert Magione, Maribel, Aramis, and Bianca all participated. It's a great program. We love working with the schools. We have tried really hard to work with the schools, and we want to do more with the schools. It's hard to get the schools to fit into their schedule. You know, they have their program and their plan, and we don't always fit, but we're really getting more teachers engaged in coming to Western and teaching the kids about water, because we got to build that next generation or 2 generations out of water employees. So that was really cool.
So they come here? No. Oh, okay.
They've done both. We do a lot of tours. And one thing, sorry, I always forget what it was called, the teacher who came, externship. So we have started, there's teachers that are contacting us that in the summer, they want to come and learn about water. And so they went and walked around with our operations staff and learned about water so that they can then talk about it in the following year with their students. So I challenged Candy. I said, well, if we had 1, we should have 10 next year. And then we should have 20 the following year. So she's got a challenge ahead of her.
Nice.
Next item. Hopefully you noticed beautiful signage on the building. Sarah and her team did a fabulous job. So signage went up last week. Next item. Oh, Riverside County Women's Leadership Convention. So we were participating in that. We sent 4 people to that. Michelle, Mallory, Darian, and Paula all went, represented Western. That's a great thing. This is all part of our commitment to our employees to provide elite workforce and the best workplace possible. So we want them to get out and spread the news about how important it is to have women in leadership roles in water agencies. And I think our staff is doing a great job on doing that. Kudos to them. Next item, it is Fix a Leak Week. I'm sure you all knew that. You've been talking about this with all of your constituents, but we're busy getting ready for Fix a Leak Week. So excited about that. Debuting a series of videos and tools to help customers learn how to detect, identify, and fix leaks. I hear from our customer service, people who are out of budget. We call them and tell them, or they call us angry, and we say, have you made sure that you don't have any leaks? And they always say, oh, you just say that. And then they have leaks. It's very, very common. I will admit, I had 3 leaks under my house that I did not know about. I don't get penalized because where I live, I'm not on a budget-based rate program. But we finally found one of the leaks, and then as we fixed it, we've had 3 leaks. And none of them were surfacing. So you never know. So it is very common. And so our outreach program and our customer service, we actually will send people out to their house to help them figure out if they have leaks. So it's a really good program. For free. All they got to do is call. Our bigger problem is getting people to agree to let someone out to their property and help them, which blows me away because they'll pay $100 a month in extra water bills that they don't need to because they don't want to let our team come out and investigate what's going on at their own property. Anyway, So that concludes the comments I want to make, except that I was in Denver last week doing a snow survey because I'm really worried about the Colorado River. And I want to make sure that it's snowing. And you may have followed the news. Last week they had 2 feet of snow in Denver. The town came to a screeching halt, which is great for snow for someone, but that water all goes the other direction. But it still snowed in the mountains, but only about 6 inches up the mountains, which is going to come our way. But I also learned something new, that in Colorado, unlike here where our wettest periods are January and February, March is their snowiest month on record always. So fingers crossed that it keeps snowing up there. But they got a really good start, and their snowpack is great up there.
So something else happened in Denver while you were there. So Sarah and Grace put together an application for a leadership award, and Craig was summoned to the water reuse conference and received an award. The award was for, it's an excellence award for advocacy achievement. And I'm going to read a little piece of this, just a little piece. Craig advanced a vision to transform California's water management by spearheading Solve the Water Crisis, a coalition of agencies across statewide sectors, calling on policymakers to secure the state's water future. Through Craig's leadership, the coalition achieved alignment among water managers, engagement from the community partners, a shift in statewide messaging, and a consensus on legislative solutions through California Senate Bill 366. So they called him up on stage and they presented him with a nice little water drop. Nice. So congratulations, Craig, and wanted to thank all the general managers that submitted their comments on a video, as well as Director Gardner provided a recommendation letter as well. So congratulations, Craig.
Thank you. I need to get better control of these meetings because that was not part of the program.
Oh, yes, it was.
That says nothing in my list of things to talk about that. Thank you. James has a really nice announcement to make.
Indeed,
James,
this is a good feel-good story. So good morning, President Gardner, board members, staff, and public. So it's always great when I get to come to the board and present. This is a good news story, really great news. So I have the pleasure of presenting the to the board the President's Special Recognition Award that we received from Aqua JPIA, related to Western Water's property and liability insurance programs. Each year at their fall conference, at Aqua JPIA's fall conference, JPI recognizes members that have a loss ratio of 20% or less in either their property or liability insurance programs. The great thing is we had it in both, and as you'll see, we're far below that 20%. So the first one they have on your screen there, this is for our property insurance program. So that period was from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th of 2022. So we have a total of 3 claims. Total premium deposit paid was almost $367,000. We had 0 losses and $0 losses. So that's fantastic, amazing. The next one we have is for our liability insurance program. So that period covers the same from July 1st of 2019 to June 30th of 2022. We had a total of 17 claims. Those premiums paid were $858,743. We had total losses of $73,883 for a loss ratio of 8.6%. So far below, both of those are far below that threshold that Aqua JPI sets at 20%. So we far exceeded those standards that were set by Aqua JPI for these awards. That's all I have, and I want to turn it back over to our General Manager, Craig Miller.
That's great news. And thank you. I was listening to the news this morning, and they were doing a story on Boeing. And the FAA had a meeting with Boeing over these plane mishaps, wheels falling off, doors falling off. And the FAA president was said he had a meeting with the Boeing president, and he came back and he just announced that Boeing doesn't have a commitment to safety first. And I was like, and he said, but they'll get there, but it's going to take a really long time to turn the aircraft carrier. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's scary.
Yes.
But what I thought about was James and his work with our staff. And, you know, this is predominantly operations, right? And our operations staff we don't have to turn the aircraft carrier. So James is out there every day with our staff, and the commitment that they have to make sure that we have a safe environment to work, a safe environment for the community that we serve should be recognized, and it is. But it's not without a huge amount of effort from James and his team, and the whole Met staff, the whole Western staff. So thank you, James.
This really is a significant accomplishment. And it truly is all of Western. All our employees do have a safety orientation, and it shows. So thank you all, and congratulations.
Thank you. My next update is by Ryan. So Ryan, I hope this is a good update on water supply. Pressure's on. Did you control the rain and the snow?
I do. And this is an easy one, yes. More fun, more good news. Just a quick little picture. DWR staff doing their snow survey last month. I want to give them all the credit in the world, of course. So on the right-hand side, you'll see a comparison of last February to this February. It's kind of hard to see, but I want to point out in the back, there's a structure. So on the top in 2023, it's covered, and basically you couldn't even get into it. You look down at 2024, you see the same structure. Lots of snow still, but it's almost unfair to compare this year to last year, which was a banner year in terms of precip and snowpack. So you can see the stats on the left. We're still doing really well, but compared to last year, a little bit behind. Excuse me. Just a couple little pics. Early March storm. I think we all saw this on the news up in the Sierras. Upwards of 10 plus feet of snow. Interstate 80 was closed for a couple days or a number of hours. And you can see a couple of pictures where everybody was stuck in their cabins in their homes. Yeah, sorry. Better? So this is a graphic you see each month from us, imported supply up in the Sierras, northern snowpack. The green shaded area is what we call normal or average. And then you can see in the last month, the last couple of weeks, the solid green line, we really jumped up above. So we're looking at 115% of normal or average currently. As Craig mentioned, good news on the Colorado River side, Colorado watershed. Same thing, the blue shaded area is normal or average. You see the darker blue line jumping up above average, so we're about 105% of normal. So looking really good. You've seen this graphic before, major water reservoir levels. I'm going to focus on Shasta, Oroville, and San Luis. So Shasta at the top of the state, 86% of capacity, full of capacity, 114% above normal, so looking really good. Oroville, 85% of capacity, and 126% above average or normal. And then down to San Luis Reservoir, kind of in the middle of the state, which is critical for Metropolitan, our state water project supplies, 73% full and 87% of average, so that's really good. And the picture on the left is a picture of Feather River. Sorry, it's in the bottom left, but that feeds into Lake Oroville and subsequent reservoirs. So locally, watersheds, precip, starting on the left-hand side, LA watershed, 128% of average, which is fantastic. That's about 20 inches of rain that they've received so far. That's almost unheard of. Santa Ana watershed, 121% of average, about 18 inches of precip that we've received in our local area. And then Santa Margarita watershed, 114% of average, 13 inches. And Santa Margarita kind of is our lower end of our watershed, and our service area kind of butts up against San Diego County. local reservoir levels. So I'm going to break this into two. I'm going to start with Met's facilities, Lake Matthews and Diamond Valley Lake. Lake Matthews, 88% full, and Diamond Valley, 92% full. That's huge. That's fantastic for locally and for the Met region. The other two dots that you see, Prado Dam and Seven Oaks Dam, internally we always kind of joke, when you look at how full is it, you know, Prado Dam 5.4% full, and then Seven Oaks 2.2% full, you kind of think, hey, what's going on here? But you'll see in a subsequent slides, this is a testament to all the water agencies working together to recharge that stormwater. So even though the numbers kind of look small in terms of percentages, we're actually capturing all that water that we've received the last couple of years.
Well, and to add to that story, both Prado and Seven Oaks are flood control facilities. So the fact that there's roughly 20,000 acre feet of water held behind Prado, that's literally 3 decades of work that Orange County's put in with the Army Corps of Engineers to create a pool of 20,000 acre feet that they can store outside of the flood control needs. So 5% full, but 100% full of the pool that they're allowed to capture water in. So, you know, the graphic is a little misleading,
Craig?
5% full of the whole dam. So
We
you're
got
going
a
to show us that graph.
We got a video. You're stealing.
Oh, okay.
You're stealing all my stats. That's okay, though. So this is just a quick video up in San Bernardino Basin, Bunker Hill, what we call the enhanced recharge basins. This was just a little clip from San Bernardino Valley showing recent stormwater coming into the new channel and the new basins. We'll get better video pictures and graphics in the future as the basins actually get constructed, which should be in the next year or two. There'll be about 20 new recharge basins, over 1 mile of improved channel, and 50 inlet-outlet structures under the enhanced recharge basin. So thanks to Valley District for sharing this video. We kind of already touched on this, the recent local snow. We had some really big snow days locally, Wrightwood, Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear, San Jacinto. You can see on the left-hand side, Wrightwood, on March 6th, over 5 inches of snow. And in Big Bear on March 14th, about 5 inches as well. The graphic on the right-hand side shows current snow depth, and you can see in all 4 of those locations, snow depth is anywhere from 2 to 25 to 30 feet, depending on location. So again, all really good news locally. Seasonal outlook, this is kind of looking forward from April to June. This is from NOAA. On the left-hand side is seasonal precip outlook. The white portion is equal chances of normal to average rainfall. The, I guess, yellow or brown is below average expected or outlook, again from April to June. And then the green, which is on the East Coast and in Alaska, is above normal, which is pretty standard actually. On the right-hand side, you see a seasonal temperature outlook. Again, white is kind of equal chances on the West Coast and most of the country. Obviously, we see temperatures rising in the red, orange, and yellow colors above normal. Again, this is kind of a projection from now until June. Okay, so here's the Prado Dam video. So this is courtesy of Orange County Water District. This is obviously a drone flying upstream towards the dam. This is the channel that comes out of Prado Dam. Craig mentioned a lot of the stats, but this video shows anywhere from 7,400 to 14,000 CFS coming out of Prado Dam, which is CFS cubic feet per second. That's a ton of water coming out. And to Craig and I's points, this is really good work with the flood control districts and the local water agencies to make sure that water gets captured. There was upwards of 20,000 acre feet stored behind Prado Dam at one point this winter. So that takes a lot of coordination with the flood control districts, Orange County Water District, and the Army Corps of Engineers. So kudos to all of those agencies that have allowed this to happen. And then you see on the left-hand side, just a couple highlights. We're still at a State Water Project allocation of 15%. We do expect that to go up, hopefully in the 30% range, but don't want to put too much out there. We'll see in the next week or two when DWR does their next snow survey.
Is that our drone footage?
No, it's courtesy of Orange County Water District. And with that, happy to take any questions.
Are there questions? Great report, thank you.
Thanks.
That concludes my reports,
Okay.
I think, yes.
Brings us to director's reports and comments. I'll start with SWAPA. SWAPA received a $644,190 grant under the Regional Climate Adaptation and Resilience Plan, and there is no match for that from any of the member agencies. So that's just money flowing in to SWAPA, and the intent is to use it for a variety of water-related purposes in primarily underserved, disadvantaged communities. We have several of those in and adjacent to us. So I think we will see some benefit flow to some of our customers. That money will be allocated over the next couple of years. That was it for SWAPA. Craig gave pretty detailed MWD report. I think we'll leave it there. Chino Basin Water Master had a special meeting and voted unanimously to hire a new executive director or general manager. That is Todd Corbin, who some of you will know as, RPU's general manager. RPU has elevated Danny Garcia as interim general manager. I would not be surprised if that becomes long-term, but that's a decision they have not yet made. So Danny is really good. RPU is in good hands. And I think Todd is going to be a real benefit to Chino Basin Water Master. Well, I did ask him what's the matter with him that you want to go there. But there are some challenges. He's good at problem solving and getting people to work together, and getting people to work together is the primary challenge at Chino Basin Water Master, because they have two things. They have competing interests sometimes, and there's a long history of antagonism, and some of that is still out there. So hopefully Todd will help with that. And we've got another meeting next week at Chino Basin Water Master. They have to adopt a resolution that's required by CalPERS before the contract can be signed. We are anticipating that Mr. Corbin will begin work at Water Master April 15th. And that's it for Water Master. Chino DeSalter Authority.
Yes, we met on March 7th, and just the first couple of items were amendments to agreements that were pretty much standard, needed board approval. One was for environmental cleanup services and solids handling report with T.E. Roberts, and then the other was for SCADA programming and maintenance services for Chino 2 DeSalter. And the third item, which was reconciliation of the allocation of costs for the fiscal year. This happens obviously annually, and there were a couple of large allocations. Staff was recommending approval to allocate another, meaning another year of $2 million to large capital reserves for future Chino 2 well, and also $1 million for large capital expenditures reserved. And then the money that is left over, each agency is contacted to let CDA know if they want to leave their monies in the, I guess, account, or take, if the agency wants to take it. Western share of the refund this year is $39,740. I was assured that our staff would be reached out to decide, to give that decision of keep it in the, I almost said till. It's not a till. Keep it in the account or receive it back. So that was it. The next meeting is, I believe, April 4th. Yes, April 4th.
Great, thank you. Rick?
So we will meet next month.
And WRCOG Director Denstett's not with us. Sarah?
Yes, we had a meeting on March 12th, mainly routine items. The main item was the adoption of resolution of nominating Andy Morris to the JPI, and we just had update on capital projects. So it was
Great.
a short meeting.
Okay. Aqua Region 9, there is a meeting and tour of some IEUA facilities coming up. For anybody who wants to go to that, there is no charge. I'm going to go. I want to see some of their facilities, and I've not seen any yet. Director's comments. Director Torres?
Thank you. So I had the privilege of attending the Inland SoCal United Ways gala last week, and it has had me thinking, and excuse me if I don't know the answer to this, I know I've been here for a minute now. If we have some type of employee campaign program, it obviously doesn't have to be with the SoCal United Way, but if we did, I'd love to learn more about it, and I'm sorry if I don't know this off the top of my head. I want to just congratulate Craig. That's huge. The award you got in Colorado is huge. And I mean, I'm incredibly impressed by it. So congratulations. Want to wish, and I wasn't here at the last board meeting, but I want to wish all our ladies, or ladies, self-identifying ladies, happy Women's History Month. You know, we have a board, you know, not a lot of water boards look like ours, and so it's a pride point for me. And then lastly, wish all those who celebrate a happy holy month of Ramadan. It is, you know, tumultuous times. So those who are, you know, trying to live by, you know, the blessings or traditions of Ramadan, while seeing so many being hurt across the world is rough. And so my heart is with you. I hope this month does bring you blessings and the peace that you need, but also hope that our leaders see the need for stopping what we're seeing in the Middle East. So.
Director Roten.
Just a couple things. I had the pleasure of attending the Herbie Community Services District Community Awards luncheon last week, and I didn't think to bring the little program so I could tell you the different awards that they have, but the Don Galliano I think it's Water Champion Award was given to Riverside County Flood Control. So Jason Yulee was there to accept that award, which was really cool. They just do a wonderful, this is the second year of these awards, and they put on a beautiful luncheon. They had to kind of pivot from having it at the Desi House because the wind, it was on Thursday. And so a couple days ahead, they pivoted over to their beautiful community center in Eastvale. And I thought how blessed they are to have two facilities like that to be able to utilize. But it was just really, it was really wonderful. And I do remember one of the awards went to Jurupa Area Recreation and Parks District for the landscaping at their offices. They have really a beautiful drought-tolerant landscape there. Among others, and I apologize that I am not remembering them off the top of my head. I also was able to attend a board meeting for the Santa Ana River Water Company. And they are a mutual water company that is within Harupa Valley. And I was able to share that really cool Sites Reservoir virtual tour video with them. And they were very interested. They had a lot of questions. I don't know how much they knew about sites before they saw that, but it's such a complete video in a relatively short presentation. So that, and then I took the little postcards for California Water for All and talked to them about that and possibly becoming a supporter and SB 366. And it was a very, just very welcoming environment. So I was really glad to be there. And I think that's it.
Okay, Director Risby. Okay. There are, everything is a something week, and I did not know that this existed, but the week of March 10th was National Groundwater Appreciation Week.
Oh, yeah.
And we do appreciate our groundwater.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, thanks to Ryan, we actually have some water to put in the ground. So, yes.
Oh, how fun. Just a bunch of dirt?
No. So, and I think that's it for me, except, well, again, congratulations, Craig, on your award, all the work that you do, and to all of our staff for everything that you do. The recognitions today kind of illustrate how effective that is and how important it is, but it happens every day and every week. So thank you all.
Well, thank you, and that award was actually a surprise to me. I didn't know I was getting it either, so.
That was
Even
on
better.
purpose.
Someone at that end of the table
Even better.
was responsible for that, so I'm very, very appreciative of staff. And, you know, all of those efforts are on behalf of our service area. This is all about building a future for our service area so that we have water for the future generations. So I'm happy to do it. If I could, I'd like to answer a couple of the director's comments.
Sure.
While I was in Denver, Sarah Katz, who is, I don't know, Sarah, is she the communications? She's the communications consultant for the Sites Reservoir. She came up to me and thanked Western for showing that video on our website and for publicizing it I've never met her before.
Nice.
So she looked me up and thanked us specifically for posting that, and you doing even more, sharing it with some of our member agencies. So that was great.
If I could just add in terms of Ms. Katz, she is the founder and CEO of Katz and Associates that we also work with at Western. So they do incredible work, as you could see through what they're doing with that project and others. And we're lucky to know her and at times have her team's support behind Western Waters back as well.
Yeah, so a super important project to the whole water industry, and that's why we posted it. Because it's not just, I mean, we're obviously interested because we're on the waiting list, and Ryan attends they have a board meeting this Friday that Ryan will be listening in on. So we're paying very close attention, and we hope we move into the a priority position to get water out of that facility ultimately when it's built. So very important to us. The other one, Director, you brought up the United Way. Yeah, we do, a lot of staff have chosen to do direct deposits to save money and contribute to the United Way. And Tim just gave me a note that we contribute $1,000 a month as an agency to the United Way. So.
You mentioned Eastern, and I was like,
Well, they should have mentioned us too.
yeah,
And they've presented at our all hands meetings to the employees several times. We haven't had them out here in a few years. Yeah.
Okay, requests for future agenda items. Hearing none. We do have in our backup packet some information items, and our next meeting is Wednesday, April 3rd, right here at 9:30. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Recording stopped.